Hey guys, it's Chance here.
And Jesse.
And we're going to bring you another one for our 7th edition. This is actually our 3rd 7th edition battle report. And we got a pretty interesting thing going on here. We have Marq, who's going to be playing the Firesupport cadre Tau. So he's bringing a ton of stuff with Tank Hunter, which is pretty interesting because Rob's also bringing an Armor 13 wall Necron list.
So Rob's been really excited about the Necrons because of Jink and the Armor 13. So, you know, it takes dedicated anti-tank firepower to really get through that high armor. And, you know, 9 out of 10 times when you're seeing a dedicated anti-tank, you know, it's coming in individual quality shots, not quantity of shots. Now, he did end up getting matched up against Marq, who, contrary to what those models might look like, all have high yield missile pods.
They're all missile pods. Don't be fooled by the railguns.
Yeah, somebody built his broadsides and was quite upset with himself afterwards.
Yeah, which is why you can magnetize things. But other than that, we're going to take a look at it. If anything could bust this Armor 13 list that we're really seeing, it's going to be an entire army with Tank Hunter.
Yeah, basically. You know, all of his firepower is coming from Strength 7, which can still damage the Armor 13, and it all gets rerolls. So it's going to be particularly brutal.
And one of the things that we talked about before, whenever you can get rerolls or whenever you can get twin linked, rending, that sort of thing, it mitigates variance. So it's one of those things where we can kind of take a look and we can't go, oh, Marq, you had such bad dice, man. Well, actually, you have to have bad dice twice in a row.
In this particular case, 3 times, because he's twin link shooting and twin link damage, basically.
Yeah.
So Rob's list is hinging around Zandrek and Obyron. Oberon's in with a big unit of 20 warriors, allowing him to, you know, just TP around and then always come back. Zandrek is in with a Ghost Arc. Nice thing about those 20 warriors is you can just bring D3 of them back per Ghost Arc. And there's a big Armor 13 4 hull point monsters. They get a 4+ cover save from Jake. Then you have 3 Annihilation Barges and a Tirach Stalker. So it's basically a whole lot of Armor 13. Tirach Stalker is really nice because there is so much Gauss in this list. You know, the ability to twin link it is really, really key. So Rob does what he can. He actually deploys just out of Marq's range, and we saw that force Marq to actually move forward.
Which is very interesting whenever you can get a Tau player to kind of move off of where he is to start the game, because they have such long range most of the time.
Yeah, but those broadsides are kind of hampered by their range. So, but I mean, Marq just basically opens up. You know, it doesn't take long for him to get first blood, killing off an Annihilation Barge, cause a couple hull points to others. The Tirach Stalker moves forward. You know, it just basically comes down to he's going to unleash everything he can, trying to kill some things. I believe he focuses heavily on the Riptide early.
Yeah, it's interesting that he kind of gets over there on the burst tide. Do you really think it's kind of sort of the way that deployment works out is he can kind of just get to the burst tide first?
I honestly, I'm not really sure. The burst tide's a problem. I think it's not nearly as much of a problem without you know, Buff Commander and all the other shooting going behind it. But it does still have Tank Hunter, so it is still 6 strike 6 rending. So I guess that could still prove to be a problem. I just feel like the broadsides are kind of more of the bigger threat right now.
I'm wondering if what Rob's going to try and do is come pincer around that bottom right corner and see if he can kind of run in and take out. But the problem seems to be he's going to take out the burst tide perhaps and then just run right into a bunch of broadsides.
So I think that was his original game plan, but then his Nemesis Ghost Arc decided to immobilize itself in terrain.
Which is always a good thing for the opponent.
Yeah, that seems pretty solid. So he does go. You do see him heavily go in against that burst side. Like he jumped up those warriors. He just kind of unleashed into it. I think he caused like a wound or so. And that's basically what this whole game turns out to be. Is with no AP shooting, that's what Necrons do. They got to kind of just chip away wounds.
You got to plink. You got to play the whole point game.
You see Marq bringing in basically what a Farsight bomb. It's not a big Farsight unit of bodyguards rather. but it's still, you know, 3 suits, target locking fusion guns. So it's kind of, you know, it's kind of a big deal.
It's something you have to deal with.
Yeah.
For sure.
So he brings it in, but, you know, it's one of those big things. Like, it's a very, very key aspect of the game to have that Jink. Even though that Ghost Ark is immobilized, Jink doesn't say you don't get it if you're immobilized or you didn't move.
Which is something interesting that we found out. We're interested to see how people are going to have it going forward in 7th edition, because the idea of, I guess the whole idea behind jinking is your dip, dive, duck, dip, dive, dodge, that sort of thing, but you're standing still.
Yeah.
And in this case, you're immobilized.
So you see Rob bringing in his Nightsythe reserves. They all have haywire attacks in them. At first it looked like he was going to go for the broadsides, and he realized, no, I got to start whittling out this objective secured. You know, those are devilfish. They're scoring. They're objective secured. Then there's fire warriors in them, again, scoring objective secured. You know, the Farsight unit doesn't do anything to the Ghost Ark, does pen, but fails to explode the Tirach Stalker, and the other Ghost Ark makes its Jink save as well. So now you see those warriors with Obyron who don't scatter, just teleporting back there and going, okay, now I'm going to unloading you, now we're going to deal with you. Mm-hmm. So Tirach Stalker kind of just turns itself a little bit, so it can fire. What it does is, all it does is it shoots in, it kills like a crisis suit or two, but more importantly, it twin links pretty much all the Gauss, you know, the army, because it's all that Gauss. Yeah. You know, especially with 2 of the A barges down, because the furthest one to the left is gone, and he lost one on turn 1 for first blood, so he's only got that one Annihilation Barge left.
So you can take a look here at the track, doing a little bit of work, putting some points on the other guys, taking some wounds away. And you're kind of going to be playing this whittling down game the entire time, because we have no super alpha strike from these armies.
Nope, and the Necrons only AP shooting, I believe in its book, besides, you know, 1-use items off characters, is that Tirach Stalker. Mm-hmm. It has basically, essentially 2 multi-meltas. So that's kind of, you know, that's a little weird. Again, but Jink playing another big role for his opponent, that devilfish is still alive. Yeah. Even though he unloaded into it, the devilfish still limps away because of Jink saves.
And it's even more so the fact that you just have to waste another shooting phase on that thing. Yep. You want to always play with the greatest economy of your turns, especially if you don't have units with split fire or anything like that. You want to take sure that in your shooting phase, you're getting something back for your activation.
Yeah, so, I mean, you've heard in the last 3 battle reports us talk about Jink, and me basically hype up Jink. I think Jink's a very important rule, but I don't think it's the end-all, be-all rule. I think it'll make MSU builds that have access to skimmers very, very strong, but I still think probably out of all the MSU builds, I'm feeling like Marines are probably going to be the best. When you can get 18 objective secured units with the best role in the game, and the shall know no fear, without ever once having to take an ally or anything like that, that's pretty big. And the fact that you can transport 2 separate units in one transport with combat squad, again, big deal. Oh, and drop pods. Yeah. Drop directly on top of an objective, go, you can't contest this objective because you got to stay an inch away from me and I'm an armor 12 vehicle that now you have to kill.
We're taking a look at armor values being so important in this edition versus kind of when they were in 6th. If you're taking things with armor values in 6th, it was usually because they're just primary damage dealers. We're seeing a lot less of that, and at least the 7th edition stuff that our guys are coming up with, which maybe people will start bringing to tournaments, is things with light armor, things that can get across the field, things that can carry troops, things that are objective secured because they bring troops, that sort of thing.
So one key thing that happened, the haywire tech from the one squad that got lit up stood back up. So
I'm here, guys.
Yeah, he still has an objective secured guy in the Nightsythe. It also denies a kill point if you're in like a kill point scenario because that's a sergeant. Mm-hmm. So you know, but it's little things like that. You're absolutely right though about the armor value. Like tanks got a really nice buff, but they're nowhere near over the top. They're much more balanced than they were in 5th edition. It's no longer like you could shoot at one tank for 7 turns out of a game and just not kill it because you failed to immobilize it a bunch of times, or you know, like it was one of the things, you know, chimeras for instance. I remember playing chimeras and just getting shot at all game long, and it's like, okay, bink, 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 bink.
Cool.
I'm still here. Hi guys.
Solid.
Exactly. It's like here's my 55 transport that is super durable.
It's kind of like we're seeing the return of the Razorback and the Land Raider.
The Razorback, yes. The Rhino, yes. Drop Pods, yes. Land Raider, still...
We saw some cool things in fun games, but it's whether or not to see whether or not we're going to play them competitively.
Yeah, the Land Raider, the jury's still out on that one. Mostly because since exactly, points cost, and everybody can easily get access to anti-tank things like Haywire Tax, Melta. Like you'll start seeing people bust out their Space Marines with all the Melta again. 5th edition, you always had 1 to 2 Melta guns in every squad that you could.
Definitely. I mean, we take a look at this game here, and we're seeing a bunch of different variety of units. We're not looking at a Necron list that brings 8 Nightsythes or something like that, who are just going to mow down your entire army with Vector Strikes and then drop a couple guys on and just stick on objectives at the end of the game. We're seeing a bunch of variety in units here.
So, do you see what Rob's doing that kind of keeps him in this game, even though he's getting shot up so hard? Do you notice what he's doing?
What? Please tell me, Jesse.
He's ignoring the things that are causing the damage, and he's going by that old adage.
Ah, boy. We're bringing it back.
What is it?
Are we trying to kill some troops?
Win game.
But now we kill objective secure troops and then win the game. And then we kill their objective secured transports and then try to win the game.
Yep.
If anything's left after that, we kill that and win the game.
So you just saw, he teleported up that unit. He took out the suits. He's kind of hunting those fire warriors. He's losing his ghost arcs, but he's getting his guys out. He's beelining them. There's some fire warriors under that bottom piece of ruins, that got out earlier in the game. So he's kind of going after things. You see the Nightsythe, the one he has left, kind of come in, and Marq is going after things, but he's not killing that big blob of troops, which is causing him issues.
It's interesting because Rob is still staying on the offensive, even though he has so many points of his army off the table. Now it has to put Marq in an odd position for sure. Because he's going, well, I laid into a bunch of stuff with shooting. I pretty much committed a whole ton of stuff to that right flank. Now you look at the right flank.
And everything's gone from there.
Yeah.
He's utilizing his mobility to get across the table. Again, that's something key that you've talked about multiple times. It's
always
speed.
Talk about mobility.
Static armies are fine, but in an edition like this, it's not the addition of static armies.
And we can see here, Obyron just takes those guys and just puts them back there near the fireworks squad. Oh, hey, guys.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm here.
So, hey, by the way, you're no longer going to hold this objective, and I'm just going to shoot you off the table anyway. And I got a Nightsythe over here. I got troops all over the place.
So, Rob's sort of unpredictability that comes with such high mobility is costing Marq completely in this game. Marq can try to be the turn or two ahead of his opponent, but just because Rob can up and go so fast can really put Marq has to worry about 10 things at once.
Mm-hmm. And now you see Marq, Marq has to really think through his moves here, because the problem is Marq has crippled all of Rob's firepower, kind of going with that 6th edition adage of, well, you can't kill me if I kill you. But now it's that whole objective secured, mumbo jumbo of, I'm on these objectives, you got to do something. Even when you went after in 6th edition, if you didn't kill the troops, you rarely won the game, because sure, you killed their firepower, but they're still going to be able to jump objectives. And that's all Rob's doing.
And it's something we're talking about. We always play to your mission. You have to play to your mission completely. And we see Marq here, and he's kind of thinking about it. The broadsides are just kind of sitting in the middle of the table. They haven't really... they've shot stuff up, but...
Now is when, now they're starting to target these troop units. The problem is, you still have those haywire attacks that can get back up or really cause you problems. So, I mean... It's kind of one of those things. Like, he's in a bad position. He killed all the things that would cause damage. Unfortunately, as he did that, Rob ignored the things that caused him damage, just went after his troops and went, all I got to try to do is keep one troop alive, of which I have a bunch of guys that stand back up. Mm-hmm. If I keep one guy alive and I kill all your things, then I'm going to win this game.
Yeah, Rob definitely tries to use that durability bonus that we can see. I mean, durability and mobility, it's a great idea. We can just go around the table. We can force Marq, and whenever you can force your opponent into a spot where your opponent can't make a decision, he has to take one specific line of play, which now, when Marq looks at stuff, he pretty much goes, oh, I have these little guys, these little straggling units, and then there's this unit of warriors. I have to shoot them. Yeah. Marq gets his choices taken away.
You see this devilfish. It just keeps circling this one haywire attack that just keeps standing up. It's like, well, what do you do? What do you do about that? What do you do when you've killed a unit 3 times now, and 3 separate times the one guy stood back up and went, no, this is not yours. Just stop.
And we see that Marq did such a great job of killing all the baddies, but he actually has these little pockets of troops every now and again in those haywire attacks.
They keep standing up.
It's something where you can't really plan for it or anything like that, but it seems like it just Rob's luck.
I mean, the game ends up going to 7 here. You know, the key guys stand up, and they end up standing up, and it costs Marq the game on turn 7.
Yep. There's some things you sometimes have to worry about, and some things you can't plan for.
Correct.